Hi and welcome back to my latest episode of Mrs. Mummypenny Talks. I'm very expressive with my hands, just to let you know, Bola. We have another guest, very exciting. This is episode 37 of series 2 of Mrs. Mummypenny, coming close to episode 100 altogether, which is 100 episodes of the podcast, which is a bit bizarre. But I wanted to get my wonderful friend Bola onto the podcast for a very long time, since I started it, but now feels actually the perfect time for you to come on. So Bola is the founder of Refined Currency, and we have been in this game of internet games, websites, social media. Oh, I met you 5 years ago, I reckon.
It's been 5 years. We've been through it. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, but we've really been through it.
Oh my gosh, haven't we? So we met, I think we bonded over coffee or nibbles or something at one of the UK Money Blogger events, and became firm friends from that point onwards. So tell us about you, and you can go back however far you want. Tell us about your life and how you ended up to now.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, I am Bola and I prefer to say I'm an intrapreneur because I'm more of an introvert than I am an extrovert. So when people meet me, they're like, and I'm like, I'm shy, right? So as a result, I can be comfortable in a moment because I've learned to network, but I don't always have to be the loudest person in the room. It depends on if I'm passionate. So anyway, I say that to say I'm a businesswoman. My age doesn't really matter, so I'm not going to say that. Not that there's any problem. I'm proud to say I'm a Black woman from Brixton, and my origin is I am Nigerian. I was born and raised in Brixton, London, and always had a heart for maths, always had a heart for finances and understanding numbers and economics. So I studied that at university, but because I had a lot of siblings, right, and I'm the youngest of all of them, I said to myself, how can I enjoy my life? I want to enjoy my teens, I want to enjoy my 20s. I tried everything. I was like, I want to be a model, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and I want to try. And people were like, you're doing so many things. Yes, because it's the one time I can, because when the kids come, when the husband comes, when life happens, when mortgages happens, when pensions happen, when investments go up and down and you decide you want to live in another country, the decision is not just yours. Right now, I said, what can I do where the decision is only mine? And I said, I'm going to be me. As GC says, I like to say, she's like, I just want to be me, GC style. Literally, I am the same. I'm like, I just want to be
the GC.
Be GC. She is such a legend in this game. But my point is, I'm literally just like, I want to have fun. If I want to start a talk show, I'm going to start a talk show. If I want to start a business, I'm going to start a business. And it doesn't all have to make sense, and it doesn't all come together the way you think it will. But that's not how life starts. You don't start with everything figured out. You figure it out along the way, and then you go on.
And you, this is where we're going to start to meander. And you have to make the mistakes, right?
Oh my gosh,
I've
made so many.
Oh my god. Tell me your I was going to say tell me your worst mistake, but tell me your biggest learning. That's a more positive way of asking the question.
My biggest learning is to learn to grieve.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Big one.
I think, and grieving doesn't necessarily always have to do with death. It could be the loss of a friendship. It could be the loss of something, the loss of money, the loss of a job. So something that I do that my good friends really notice and pull up on me is they notice that when I begin to grieve or get really low, I pump out work. I pump out content. I keep my mind busy. I'm like, pump. Everybody, let's go. And everyone's like, yeah. And my friends are like, I think she's having a breakdown. And it's now up to me and my mental health, physical, mind, body, soul, to say, what do you need right now? So even today's a chilled day for me. Doesn't seem like it because I'm working, but I'm like, I'm not really on social media for a bit because I don't want to be in everyone's opinions. I don't want to listen to too much music. I want to sort out my own stuff. I find that therapeutic. So that's been my biggest lesson, because when I don't grieve whatever it is I've lost, even if it's a relationship or a friendship, I end up probably being a worse friend to somebody else or a worse sibling. And I think, especially as women, we just need to learn to say, this is my yes, this is my no. There is no line, there is no but, there is no comma. Accept it and let's move on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, right. There's so much I want to talk to you about from those statements. So, bizarrely, before I spoke to you, I was talking to somebody from my children's school, and we were talking about grief. Okay.
Oh.
Because so I, as you will know, and as a lot of my listeners will know, my parents died when I was a teenager. So I've studied, the cycles of grief, and we're talking about death specifically there. But as you say, loss can relate to loss of a relationship, loss of a job, whatever, and it all sort of flows around this cycle of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And what I have found over the past, because my mum died 27 years ago, right? I'm just going round and round that cycle again and again and again, and I need to get to the point where I accept that happens, because grief is such a difficult thing to get your head around, particularly when you lose your mum as a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah,
I think the point I need to get to is this is like a therapy session now. The point I need to get to is accepting that I do go around that cycle again and again and again, and not wanting to constantly accept it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you don't want to just feel like your life is this one big cycle. You want to feel like you're learning and you're taking iterations, but you're still moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's sort of like, it's like this, isn't it?
I'm a big believer in pivoting.
Yeah.
And just pivot and pivot a little more and pivot a little more. And I pivot like this so slightly that people don't notice, but sometimes a big shift happens and people say, oh my gosh, I didn't even see you were doing that. And I'm like, because I was pivoting slightly.
Yeah, that's very powerful. But the other thing you said about the sort of going over the top almost with pumping out content, doing lots and lots of work. We had a discussion a few weeks ago about the amount of workload we both had and particularly what you were doing to cope with it, and it really stuck in my head, because I do the same thing. Like when I'm overwhelmed with life, I literally just pump so much out, and I say yes to too many things, even though I've got strict guidelines of what I should say yes and no to. I end up just doing too much. So it was a very powerful statement for you to say, but also the conversation we had a few weeks ago, just to say boundaries. So boundaries, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have very clear, defined boundaries, which I know feels like rules, and I'm a rule breaker. Yeah, I'm not a.
So am I, but I say I'm a rule breaker and I'm a dictator. I'm all in one. Like I feel there needs to be structure. I don't need to always be in charge of the structure, but there needs to be structure sometimes, and that means saying to people, order, everybody line up this way. And it's like if there's no order and you're getting on the tube or the train and everyone's on the escalators, like it
just doesn't work.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So I do like a little bit of order.
Yeah, but it's even more important with businesses like what you and I run, which are there's so many different diversified streams, isn't there, of all the different content platforms you've got and the different websites. So you've got way more than I do, I think. So yeah, I'm pleased to be able. So the main things you're working on at the moment, you've got Refined Currency, which is the personal finance website.
Yep.
Then
Rich Girl Chronicles, which is the accountability group, and then we have the Bola Soul Show.
The Bola Soul Show, yeah.
So there's really Bola Soul and everything she does, and then there's Rich Girl Chronicles, which is the younger sister to Refined Currency. Refined Currency is soon going to take a back step. Rich Girl Chronicles is going to step up, and then I will rotate between Rich Girl Chronicles and the Bola brand, which includes the last 3 digits of the podcast. But yeah.
Oh, you have a podcast as well? Oh my gosh, so you've got loads of things going on.
Yeah, eventually I've just told myself that I don't really want to work for anyone else.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that I feel I'm above it. I actually love going to work and having structure and learning, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And right now is the time for me to step up. I've been doing this for 5 years, playing around with it, and now I'm just like, look, I'm ready to move on to the next step. What's the next step? I have representation. They help me get gigs, and yeah, they just look after me, but also I look after myself, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we can ask.
So just to be explicit, so everybody knows, you have a day job as well as doing all this stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I always do it all well. I don't have much of a social life, and a lot of people don't get that. People are intrigued by me until they realise that I'm just this bitch who works all the time. Because I'm like, seriously, when people are like, I just want to be friends with Bola, even my friends are like, please, like, Bola doesn't even have her own time.
You're a rubbish friend.
I'm a great friend. Listen, invite me to your birthday, invite me to a family function. I can do all of that. But don't invite me to the park because it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? Or in summer, I loosen up a bit. Then I go hard, autumn, winter, and then it gets cold and I'm like, TikTok, it's time for a holiday.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm learning is to work seasonally. I want to start working in quarters as opposed to working around the clock. So that's the reason, although it seems I have a lot going on, we are currently scheduling everything so that it's just like, okay, this takes the reign in this quarter, this takes the reign in this quarter. This quarter is for me to chill and to think, to read, and that's how we move.
Yeah. Talk to me about the Bola show, because I've watched lots and lots of episodes of it, so people can get it on YouTube.
Correct.
You've done, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 series of it?
Yeah, I've done 3. One was a sit-down round table. Yeah, so the Bola show is basically giving a voice to people who are underrepresented. Showing that there is smart intellectual conversation available, but showing that usually we have more of a like white people in our faces. There's so many shows available where it's like Graham Norton, James Corden, or the Jonathan Ross and things like that, and then you've got Oprah.
Yeah,
she's the only one who stood the test of time. Shout out to Trisha Goddard. And obviously there's Wendy Williams. But the fact that I'm even starting to struggle to find the names showed that that conversation was necessary.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada's really new. Yeah. But like if I was to compile a list, people would see, wow, like they get an opportunity. White men tend to get an opportunity so often to talk.
Oh my God, yeah.
But then women get the stereotype that we speak more. But where do we speak more? Chit chat. I don't understand. So I built the Bola show because I said, listen, I'm tired. I want smart intellectual conversation, and I want it with my people. And so I built it. At the end of the day, if you don't see it, you build it.
Wow. Bloody hell, yeah. And you did it properly. It's like an actual TV show with an audience who are really passionate and participate, and loads of cameramen.
But I have to say, those people in the audience are my friends. I recorded it a while ago, but they are my friends. So, and the community online is such a strong one. So I try to support people as much as they support me. It's a tight circle, but it's one where everybody wants a chance to get up and speak, and that's such a beautiful thing, right? Because you learn to respect other people's point of view without being condescending. Let's
have a little chat about race and sexism. Let's go for it. Because it's something that I suppose all throughout my life. So I'm a feminist, and I've always championed women I've always worked in very male dominated environments, so banking, telco and resale. they are all, well, I suppose it's just the corporate world. It's just male dominated and white dominated. So I've always tried to champion the girls and, you know, the graduates and the apprentices and all the people I've sort of mentored over the years, but I just got sick of it. I got sick of the women trying to be men, and I got sick of the men just, you know, sat in meetings. I'm the only person that can make this decision. I'm not going to collaborate in any way. So I suppose I did the same thing as you. I quit and just set up my own company and wanted to do things my own way. But there's a whole nother level once you take it to, you know, the racism that goes on in the corporate world as well. So particularly pertinent at the moment. Well, always. But
Yeah.
so you've had, I can't imagine how many people are trying to get hold of you at the moment to talk about all of this stuff. And
yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah, like you're a voice of a generation.
Yeah, it's exhausting because
Yeah,
it's like, when do I get to catch my breath?
yeah, and do the self-care and all of that kind of stuff, because if you have, like, I might spend a couple of hours listening to some podcasts to like educate myself on white privilege. I need to decompress after that, and all I've done is listen. I'm the one talking.
Yeah, it's like teaching Bambi how to walk. Like,
Which is bloody hard.
Very hard. So you're just, and it's not even walk, it's like walk plus, you know, you tell Bambi like, oh, by the way, all your family just were really horrible to us, but we're still going to teach you how to walk, right? So it's you know, I now say it's not my job to educate others. I'm happy to have conversations, but recently I had a conversation where I said women are usually at the bottom of empowerment. Black people are usually at the bottom of empowerment. And I said, so for those reasons, those are the two people that I really want to hear speak. And if you happen to be a Black woman, of course, you look like me, fantastic. If you happen to be a woman as well, I understand from that perspective, from being in the working world, seeing the discrimination. And there's discrimination of all sorts, but you know, you see the race and gender one the most. They see sometimes that you're hardworking, and then they use that as a way to not put you up for particular positions, put themselves up and like hide you under the cupboard like you're Harry Potter and be like, yeah, we've got a great little worker over here.
We've got a great team.
Literally, but it's just like, you know, no one is nothing without their team. So, yeah, and realising that there's, as I said, different forms of discrimination, being tall, being short, being a particular age, not
how you look.
Oh
my gosh, like pretty attractive people do better in life. It's a proven theory.
Yeah, and I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that happens. You know, popularity metrics and what you know and how you know it. It's a shame. We're not going to get to a decentralized world all at once, but it's once at a time, and it's knowing that we have to give graces to other people, right? Because we're not always going to get it right. Sometimes we're going to get it wrong. These days, everyone's trying to cancel everyone and say, you did this, you did that. Oh, you can just say one thing and then it's like, I don't know, I could say something like, I love Steve Jobs, and then they say, oh, did you know that Steve Jobs did this and that? None of us are perfect, right? You know,
somebody called me out on Instagram the other day because I shared a post saying that I read, you know, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I read it every year because it's just an amazing book. I love it. And somebody called me out saying, you need to investigate Paulo Coelho because he's been done for discrimination or something.
Do you know, I shouldn't laugh because that's very serious, but as you can tell, I'm very much over it. Some things, you can't know everything about everyone.
No.
These days, I'm more interested in knowing who the founder is of something than I am the company. Because when people are like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? We'll pay you for promotion. I'm like, who's running it? Let me see them.
Yeah.
Let me check their LinkedIn. What do they do? What do they stand for? Have they been in positions of leadership before?
Yeah.
Are there people who can vouch for them? Do we have at least 3 to 4 friends in common? If we have about 10, are there 3 people on that list that I really, really rate? So it's important for everyone to do their own version of a CRB check on people these days, because
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah, you just don't know with people, and some people will question you for different reasons because they don't like what you said or how you said it or how you delivered it. I can be quite cross, and I have a reputation for that, I know. So I think sometimes I'm just quite quiet because I'm like, I don't think you will want to hear what I have to say. Which is why I tend to just plod along and get along with like my own work.
Yeah. There's a time and a place, isn't there, for
Absolutely.
standing up and sharing your view. And I think it's a skill that I'm learning through life. Not very well all the time.
We're all learning. I think what's interesting though is when you are quiet and everyone's just like, anything to say, like someone's trying to draw you out of yourself, like, come on, I'm in the mood. And sometimes I'm like, I am not in the mood for this. You know?
Yeah. I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to be my introvert side of myself.
It's good to listen. I'm in a listening mood today for sure. So I'm like doing that and I call it having thinking weeks. I think I got that term from, it's one of these entrepreneurs. They said sometimes they just have thinking weeks. So I'm having like a thinking week where I'm just like, okay, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And how can we stretch that out and things like that? Because I always say 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah. I like that. I always read several books at the same time. So another book I'm reading at the moment is Big Magic by Liz Gilbert.
Okay, haven't heard about
it. It's a really amazing book about being creative, but in so she wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
You know, that massive Hollywood film. And she was pretty much unknown until suddenly like Eat, Pray, Love got picked up, and then that sold like 30 million copies, and suddenly she
love life. You gotta love life, I swear.
Yeah.
Like one day you're like minding your business, you know, having your little wine glass to yourself in your house, and then one day the phone rings and everyone's just like, your life is about to change, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, literally. And sometimes you believe it and sometimes you don't, but
Yeah.
it's always good to stay ready. That's what I've learned. Stay ready, because out of nowhere people can be like, come on, we're going now. I'm like, going where? And they're like, to LA or to this or to that. And I'm like, okay.
I want somebody to take me to LA.
I haven't gone to LA. It was just like a euphemism to say that like life can come so quickly. So
Yeah,
we just make sure that like we stay ready. Yeah.
It's I'll finish what I was going to say about the Liz Gilbert book, then I'll say the other thing. But she actively encourages thinking sofa days. So she's a writer for a living, yeah. But she actually says, I'll maybe do a little bit of journaling when I get up, and then I'll have a bath, I'll lie on the sofa, I'll go out for a walk, because she needs all of that time to get the creative juices flowing to then knock out these incredible, 30 million best-selling books.
Yeah, you need to have the space and the comfort, and that's a luxury and a privilege because not everyone has that. But I say at the same time, great things can be made out of hardship. So it's about finding your balance if you can. Like I said, even to have any form of balance is a privilege.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I really like that word, that phrase is being used quite a lot at the moment, because I'll say something and then I'll correct myself afterwards. I was like, okay, that was white privilege, you just so I'm self-correcting myself, because I don't know how to change the world, but
as Michael Jackson says, you just start with yourself, right? And then
yeah,
you make sure, like for me personally, I make sure I stand up for other people. So sometimes people try to say, even in the finance community, oh, she's not as good as you, or things like that. I'm like, you don't have to put her down. You know, you don't have to put him down, or just leave them. And then people are like, why are you so relaxed? I'm like, because it's one life, and what are you going to do? Be greedy and control it and be like, all the deals are for me, everyone go away. That's no life. What do you teach your children? if you just say, listen, just go eat lunch by yourself. Everyone's playing over there, go eat lunch by yourself. So it's about finding that balance. And no, I'm glad that you spoke on white privilege. Like I think it's important more people do, but it's key that I guess you even call it out to people with white privilege and maybe do it more publicly, because I think I'm like blue in the face with it now.
Yeah, well, of course you are, because you've been talking about it for the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yes.
Or forever, but it's just,
Yeah, before it was like internal microaggressions, and now it's just like, oh wow, they're killing us in the UK and the US, everything is rising, right? And we are like, if they can't breathe, can we breathe? Are we next? And that is no way to live.
No.
So,
but well, then all we can do absolutely is work on ourselves. I've got 3 children, so I have the ability to influence them, and we are having so many incredible conversations about all races, ages, sexes,
gender, all of it. Yeah, it's all so important.
Queer, straight.
Yeah.
And they see, particularly so I've got Dylan, who's 12, Josh, who's 10, and Jack, who's 7. And so Dylan plays, he plays football for Cambridge United, and like his team is a very racially diverse team. Very
good.
Very. Cambridge United have done really well at creating that sort of gender balance. Other football teams, so I've noticed, haven't. And they can be one way or the other. It's really interesting. But Dylan sees no colour. He's literally like, Mummy, I don't care. Like,
do you know
white, whatever.
Do you know what's interesting? I'm learning more about terminology, and even like I've noticed that sees no colour is one that is a sticky one these days.
Good. Pull me out in it. So what should you say instead?
I liked racially diverse. I think that's more than enough, because what the issue may sometimes be is how people have grown up, their culture, how it's embraced, how they live, whether their parents or themselves migrated from a different country here. You may not be with them if they are called out of their name to a name they don't like, and that's where it gets hard, right? It's never when everyone's playing football together. It's when some of my male friends or female friends are watching the Premier League and they say someone just threw a banana at Pogba. Yeah. So it's being in the street and being harassed. It's being in secondary school and going to a very good secondary school in Victoria/Westminster and being told by a white guy that these niggas need to get off the road. It is the things that people don't see, and the key is not necessarily pretending they don't exist, because people say, if a tree falls in a wood, in the woods, does the tree make a sound? And for me, it's a bit similar in the sense where just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So it's important that we don't dismiss other people's experiences, and we don't dismiss maybe the things that they're hiding out of fear. It's like, you know, like growing up, I used to see a lot of those, like, if you think a child is being abused at home, domestically abused, and anything like that, are there any noticeable signs? The scars of racism, sexism, and all the other isms for everybody lays inside them. It can lay with trauma, and if they don't have the finances for it, they may not be able to afford therapy and things like that, their experience. So a lot of people are trying their best in different facets, and I think there is no one right answer. Some people say, you're wrong, you shouldn't do it that way. I'm sure someone will listen to this and say, Bola, I didn't think you were right here. And I say, okay, well, come, let's chat. Let's not badger each other.
Yeah.
It said this in Google in 1972, and we go back to 1372 and this or that. And I say, hold on, what are you really trying to say? Let's have a proper chat. Let's not do this whole I'm better than you complex,
Yeah, totally. Let's hope we can get everybody saying the same thing. I highly doubt it though, because
I keep the hope alive, and I just keep focusing on me. And
yeah, you're never going to change a white supremacist, are you?
I mean, you never know. I keep the hope alive for many things and just say, okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do my bit. At the end of the day, with white supremacy, I've still managed to work with some of the biggest brands in the world and some of the brands that I love, the communities I love. It's not just about big brands, it's also about small businesses, communities, medium-sized businesses. And I can say, look, it was an honor to be here. And
yeah. So who, whilst we're talking, because we both work with lots of big brands, who do you think are doing sort of the diversity thing really well? Can you call out any that you think are doing well?
No, because it's now become a domino effect.
Oh.
I'd say someone who does the diversity thing very well is, shout out to Rihanna, Fenty Beauty. Even when she launched, she did it very well. The thing that people need to understand about particular businesses is just because it's a black business, we can't always assume it's just for black people. It just means a black person runs it.
Yeah, yeah.
You never look at, I don't go into Sainsbury's and say, can I come inside? I go inside. So it has to be both. We just have to start asking more questions. But I mean, Fenty Beauty does it well, and you know, her having 40 shades of foundation and knowing the skin tones was fantastic. I look at a lot of companies and I think, what are you doing it for? But then I just think, at least they're doing it. This is a start.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I don't want to start policing it because
No.
Yeah.
Some of it strikes me as tokenism. Particularly, I looked quite a lot I looked at Pride last year, and obviously it's Pride month this month, and because I went to Brighton Pride last year to see Kylie.
How was it?
Oh, it was amazing.
I remember you going to see Kylie. She is amazing. Oh, no, seriously. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. I adore her. The fact that she had cancer and she came back. No, seriously, I'm going to get in my feelings. I'm going to go and listen to Red Blooded Woman.
Oh my gosh. And she's so good, like in actual real life. And I went with, so my best friend, Neil, I went with him, and he was like, I'm not getting normal tickets to sit, you know, in the massive area.
For someone like Kylie, you need a real...
We got Golden Circle tickets, but like, Bola, they were like £100 each. They weren't, okay, that sounds really bad, but they weren't thousands and thousands of pounds to be in the Golden Circle. So we were like, I'm going to say 20 meters away from Kylie Minogue. It was amazing.
She come around the Golden Circle? Because I've always wanted Golden Circle tickets to see someone like Beyonce or Adele, but then I'm like, I'm going to need some...
Well, they had
eye contact.
So there was the stage, then they had like a catwalk bit which came out.
Nice.
So yeah, you did end up being really close to her.
Oh, that's good.
They had separate toilets in the Golden Circle as well.
No. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so excited. I don't even know
it was worth it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like Kylie Minogue is an actual legend. So
yeah. But what I was going to say was, there was a lot of brands who were getting involved with the Pride event, and I was just sort of thinking, are you just doing this because it looks good? You know.
Well, I think we are in a trending world. Yeah, we are in a trending world that is working very agile. Every day something is changing. Yesterday's news is literally yesterday's news.
Yeah.
So it's more like, is your content evergreen? But I say take the opportunities and make sure that we keep it going, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that there's equality. That's the key. We can't say, oh, you're doing this for this, you're doing this for that. Everyone's like, oh, everyone's performing. Everyone's to an extent performing now. But it's, but also we can't question people's authenticity. We don't know their hearts. We don't know their plans. So we leave it. But I'm the type of person that where I feel necessary, I am happy to get in contact with the relevant people and call them out if I feel like, do you know what, the representation here isn't right. How can we change that together?
Yeah. So if we do quite a few sort of we used to do quite a lot of public speaking events. So I suppose the key there is, if I'm doing an event and I see it's 4 people and I'm the only white female, and it's 3 white men and me, the white female, then I should be calling them out and saying, you need to.
Yeah, even before you get to the event, one of the great things I love to ask now is who else is on the panel.
Yeah. It's a good shout.
Because I'm like, LinkedIn is great. I just go to their company and I'm like scrolling and start scrolling. I'm like, and then I go to their Insta page. I'm like, oh, everyone's white. Cheers, mate. You just lost a client. I'm not doing it. I'm not your token girl. Never been your token. I didn't grow up in a. That's going to be rude. I was going to say I didn't grow up in a token girl area. I don't know what token girl area is, but it's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm your one and only and things like that. And yes, I'm in the room. It has to be. It has to be bigger than us. And this sounds so corny, but for the sake of the children, for the sake of the future, how are our kids going to learn and grow if it's just one of us in the room? How do we get all of us in the room and get a voice?
Exactly. Yeah, so it sort of feels like we're maybe like a generation away from shifting things. But yeah, if we can just bring our children up to be better people and inclusive of everyone, then we've done a good job as a community of parents.
As a human world.
As a human world. Yeah. Well, that's quite a deep conversation. Okay, so what's next for you? So you're going to be doing the Bola show again?
Yes, that's coming back in a fabulous way. I am working very hard behind the scenes. Rich Girl Chronicles is getting a bit of a revamp. Everything's getting a bit of a revamp. But I'm happy.
At this time of the year, are you like, is this your revamp time? Because like I'm rebranding, got a new website, writing a book. It's all happening at the moment because I know that once summer holidays hit, I sort of have to slow it down because, well, I've been looking after my children for the past 14 weeks, haven't I, because of lockdown. But I do, and also our world sort of shuts down a little bit in August, doesn't it?
I kind of like it. I like the shutdown because I'm like, can we all get a minute?
Yeah.
But when people like to, I've had people come up to me like parks and parties and like, hey, just want to chat to you. I'm like, here. I'm like, absolutely not, mate. I am dancing. I have a cocktail. It's my friend's birthday. I do not want to talk about work. And I think that's the thing is I work so much that when people talk to me about work, they're like, why is she so angry? I'm like, because I'm not at work right now. And I have like a mojito in my hand and you are disturbing me.
Yeah, can we just talk about Kylie
or at least,
and men?
Or at least come to me with a fresh pina colada and say something. And I'm like, okay, let's chat. Because then, just that's the key opening. Start with a pina colada, an offering piece. You can't just come because, oh, great, I finally caught you in public. It is my worst nightmare. I just want to chill. But yeah, revamping, having meetings, keeping it light because September to December is just, that's how it usually is. It goes so fast. Yeah. Either you have your plans or you don't.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And January to March, I tend to go a little bit quiet because it's cold, but I don't. But love a little bit of like March to May. Because yeah, I'm currently trying to work out, look, when do I get my downtime?
Yeah. It's a tricky one. But I really struggle in like October, November. November, December is when I struggle. I'm not a fan of Christmas. I'm just not. The forced
Christmas
social
is when oh, I love it. What? The forced social events. Do you know what's great about Christmas, right? I can see everyone in one go. And I'm like, not even two birds, 20 birds, one stone. Hello, 5 minutes, hello, I'm well. I do not like really deep conversations with a lot of people. A few people have said to me, I create this sense of intrigue, right? Of curiosity. What's Bola up to? What's next?
You do.
She signed here. Is she done? Because sometimes when I go quiet, I'm like, and everyone's just like, what's coming? What's she doing? Fantastic. Because it means I am in control of my own narrative. And that is the key. You cannot move when the world tells you to move because you will forever be indebted to them for that. But if you say, I move to the beat of my own drum, then everybody has to drum accordingly.
God, you're an inspiration.
Thank you. But no, for real, like we just have to do it. I think, listen, me being my own self started with my mother wanting me to be a pharmacist, and I was like, darling,
A
absolutely.
pharmacist.
I'm really good with like numbers and functions and formulas.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, we already have an accountant. We don't want to have another one of that. Like, let's do something else. And I was like, go away.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And
So,
being an accountant is a, well, I'm an accountant.
well,
You're an accountant. It's a
my
great
mum
thing.
was an accountant by
Ah.
trade. So yeah, she's not accounting anymore, but she's still really good with the numbers. My brother used to be an accountant. He's switched careers. So I was like, yeah. And then I just did maths and finance. And then I was like, I'm a bit into IT. I'm kind of decent at coding. But yeah, you have to walk to the, like, sometimes I've just learned. I'm like, yeah, no, don't want to do that. And people are like, oh, my siblings always like, you're so selfish. But then my sister's always like, look, I think you might be the richest out of all of us because you just know how to put your foot down. I'm like, yeah, look, I don't want to do certain things. Hey, B, can you come and do this? No. And then they'll all gang up on me and be like, you're being really selfish. And I end up crying. And I do it. And then I help out and I'm there for them. And I just watch them talk and I'm like, okay, yeah, this has been great. I want to go now.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it's good to be direct with yourself. Sometimes I literally sit in this room right now and I'm like, Bola, what do you want right now?
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need? Does this make sense? What do you want? What do you need?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, so this is what we're doing. And then as soon as you write something out here, then you get your team involved and they're like picking it apart. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I go away and I come back and I'm like, okay, I have a new structure. And then someone else says something and I'm like, question time is over. We are moving forward, whether or not this formula works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be okay with pivoting, with failure, get over embarrassment. Life is tripping up and getting back up, you know, and being okay with it.
And it's hugely about being vulnerable and saying it as it is, admitting your failures and what you've learned from it, and moving on.
Sometimes I feel so big that I have to apologize hard. Yeah. Apologize to myself, but mostly apologize to people. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Because sometimes I'm not in the mood and I don't know how to tell people. And I'm the type of person, I can be really quiet at times and say, look, I'm really tired. I need to, please. And they say, look, please. And then by the third time, I'm like, I told you, you have to get out of my face. And then people are like, because I do tend to give people a pre-warning, but they don't understand it. And it's like, I don't know. As a woman, especially, you have to set your own boundaries. You have to set your own boundaries because people will always push it, and you just have to look at them like, "Did you not hear what I said?"
Yeah. But you're good at it. Well, you inspired me to sort out my boundaries, so thanks.
B is for boundaries. Oh yes, and I'm still working on mine. Even this conversation, let me know. I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna say yes to this. Gonna turn that down. Gonna say yes to this. Because it's just like, well, what are we doing? That's what I say. Sometimes I'm like, right, what are we doing? How does this make sense? Or does it make sense? Don't be afraid to question yourself and question everything and say, you know.
Yeah. And have those really key people who will tell you when you're like screwing something up.
Oh, or when you need to let something go. I had a conversation with my best friend the other day. Shout out to her. She recently moved to Germany.
Oh, wow.
And she was just like, Bola, how many times are we going to have this conversation? Right? She's like, you've been waiting for this period of your life for ages. You've been working, you've been doing this, you've been doing that. Just focus on what you need to, leave the rest alone. And I was just like, I just nodded along and said, you know what, you're so right. Because the people, your key people, your inner circle, they observe you more.
Yeah, hugely.
And they can see. They're like, look, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And what I'll say to you is, what you said earlier in this conversation is, I think you should take the business seriously, and I think you should just focus on you and the business. Like, if it's, I know it's difficult financially, but if you can at all afford it, I think you have the potential to be such an incredibly influential person and a very successful entrepreneur.
Thank
entrepreneur,
you.
whatever you want to call it.
Boss lady.
Because you've got something really special, and I think when you dilute that with, you know, having to do the day job, you're splitting yourself in half.
Oh, and it's exhausting. Like,
it's too
it's so
much.
exhausting. And my mum's like, you work too much. And when my mum said that, I was like, now I know it's a problem. So I take more time off.
Yeah. That's the little mothering I'll do of you, as I like to nurture and mother other people.
I always appreciate you for it. That's why when we have our meetups and stuff, I'm like, yeah. I think sometimes you've met me and you can just see I'm very like, I'm so tired and things like that. But
Oh no, God, whenever I've met you, you've always been hugely like motivated. And
do you know what? It depends on the time. Sometimes I'm so tired and I'm like, I just don't want to do this. But I think I want to get better at saying, I don't want to talk out
just
loud.
don't
I
have
don't
the
want to talk to
meeting.
people.
Don't have the meeting.
That's it. I like that. That should be a slogan. Don't have the meeting.
Even if it's your best mates. Like I cancelled a Zoom last Friday night with my 3 best uni mates because I just wasn't feeling it. And and they didn't hate me. In fact, one of them sent me a bouquet of flowers like the next day. So
that's cute.
Yeah. You need to work on your boundaries as well. Right. So we've got the Bola Soul Show coming up at some point, probably in Q4. Yeah, I guess. And then, so the people listening and watching because I'm going to plaster this absolutely everywhere. How do they find you on social media and stuff? Where's your best place?
Right now, find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter at Bola_Soul, BOLA_SOL. You will find me there. I am active. Right now, we're doing lots of money chats. But yeah, that's where you'll find access to all my work.
Yeah, and your Instagram's really good.
Thank you. We try. We try every day. We're all trying.
It's inspirational. I quite often share your little quotes on my Insta stories because I like putting those kind of things on my stories.
Thank you. Someone said to me, I'm a walking quote machine.
Yeah, you do a lot of quotes, but you know what? They're great. So carry on.
Yeah, no, it literally comes very naturally to me. So yeah. Why not?
Fabulous. All right. So I'll stop the interview because we've been talking for about 50 minutes, I think, or maybe 45 minutes. But I told you it was meander.
I like it.
Real random stuff. But
I love it. I prefer it that way.
Yeah, no, I do as well. Yeah, that's how I roll with my interviews. So yeah, thank you ever so much for coming on, and I will hopefully see you soon. No idea when or where.
But it will work.
Whenever we're allowed to socialise again. Because just to time this, we are in week 14. We're in week 15 of lockdown.
But July 4th, we're all out, aren't we? Kind of.
Yeah, but we still have to do the meter thing, don't we?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going out publicly for the rest of the year. Like I am, but I'm not. Like I'm out and about, but I'm like, no. It's so hard to tell that the economy doesn't know what they're doing. No. Why should I? Like, let me stay at home and work on my business.
Yeah, and not get coronavirus.
That too. It's key.
Yes. Well, thank you ever so much. I will stop recording, but don't go anywhere.